mean to put that self-fulfilling prophecy in place. But actually, we were wondering where Duncan was in the last segment, and we did actually just get word that he had indeed been attacked by a Fox fan from the crowd. So,
Richard, they're animals, mate. The Fox fans, their passion, it's intensified under those bridges that they live in, where they eat the human feces. They're just animals, mate. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
You're okay,
yeah, I'm okay now, yeah. Right. Luckily, their aim is as good as Fox's, and their natural ability. I could dodge a lot of it, and I got past it. Yeah. I sidestepped it all. Don't worry.
Well, I'm glad that you're back with us. I was really really worried for a moment or two there, and just glad that you're safe, Duncan. That's the main thing.
I have to say, even among beatings I've had, it wasn't even top 5. You know, but it doesn't even deserve mention in my autobiography. So.
Well, I'm glad you're with us. That's the main thing. So we can move on now, and it's a wonderful segue because, of course, we have got Gamers2, the newly acquired Gamers2, formerly Kingwin. They're going to be going...
That Fox is a good player, Richard.
Okay, they can't hurt you. They can't hurt you now.
My bad, okay.
They can't hurt you now. In fact, actually, do you know what, guys? I don't normally do this, right? Because it's when you indulge the trolls.
Oh, no, are you?
No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, right?
No, you're not.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to.
Oh, no.
Has this worked out well for you in the past?
Time to step out.
So no, listen. So while Thorin missed that last segment, a troll posted on a website. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called HLTV. It's pretty good. And the user could just give him his moment of fame. Is No Limit 901. And to ask the question, where is Thorin? He answered, Thorin and Henry G can't stand each other. You can easily see it. They probably fighted over something, or maybe Henry G was mad at the bully he received over the analysis desk. Then Thorin got probably pissed off because R. Lewis was laughing, and he can't stand Henry G too.
Oh, it's all coming together now, guys.
Why is it all against me? Why is
this guy's
going
pretty in depth. He's breaking everything down here. I told you guys, don't make it so obvious. Keep it behind the scenes, guys. Keep it professional.
Exactly. This is the best bit, though.
Especially when he laughed at me. That really, I knew that he was all over at that point.
Thorin is probably in a pub in central London getting drunk and telling the barman he cannot get a prediction right even with tier 3 UKT.
Probably can't. Barman are notoriously rubbish at making predictions. Now, apparently Anders used to work at a bar when he was a student, so unconnected information.
He was dancing for pennies, though. Okay. So let's talk about Gamers2 versus SK Gaming. The banter's out the way. We've got it. We've got it.
What has happened there?
Apex just dropped Kenny.
Okay, get on camera?
Guys, you're better than this.
It's not the first time Apex has let Kenny down at life, if we're being honest, lads.
So, Gamers2 versus SK Gaming. No one's even been drinking.
We all know Apex can't carry Kenny, let's be real.
Gamers2, of course, fresh.
Their games were so quick. Their games were so quick. They didn't have any camera time.
See what I'm doing? Am I in control anymore? I've lost control of the desk, guys. Look, do you want to come over and just... Kenny, are you okay, mate? Are you all right? He literally just fell over in the background.
Did you not feel that on the ground?
Yeah, it was big.
So wait a minute. When he falls over and hurts himself, just no tears,
doesn't make a sound.
But when he just does badly with an AWP in an imaginary computer game, he's like, guys, I need a moment, please. I didn't even cry when I was getting fictionally beaten up by Fox fans and then telling some barman about how crap his predictions are.
Gamers2 versus SK Gaming.
Hold it together.
Gamers2.
Keep going, Richard. Keep going.
Fresh from the victory in what was called Slovenian Hell in Gamers Paradise, where just an absolute disastrous, cataclysmic event. Let's hope they never do another one in CSGO. Just putting that out there, by the way. Okay. But it was good news for Gamers2 at least. They won it. It's a big... I do love them. Gamers2 obviously won out there, and here they are now. And I actually think they could be a little bit of dark horses for this tournament. I think they're going up against the team SK Gaming that they're more than capable of beating. What do you guys think?
I think it's been a fantastic storyline for them. Every single event we see them at, they seem to go strength to strength. We talked about them just being this superstar lineup, and they seem to be relying heavily on the fraggers. But I think ever since the acquisition of Dennis, that's when they've really come into their own. I've been really impressed with the lineup. I think it's syncing really nicely now, and I think we make the point of Fox maybe not being at the same level, but I think he fills the support role very well. He's being forced out of the AWP role by Makaleli, but I think that's worked out for the better. The restructure at least seems to be working better for the team, not necessarily be working in favor of Fox's frag charts, but I think he's filling that role quite nicely.
Plus,
I don't know what your thoughts
are. The thing is,
there.
when you're a support player, you have to facilitate the stars. Sometimes it's not even a big thing. You do a great play. It's just the little things that make that guy feel a bit more comfortable in his role. Like, I mean, if at any point in the game you want a Glock, Guy's there ready to drop it for you. He'll run across the
map. I thought you were
map
actually making a serious point there.
I was.
I think he still is. Joking aside, I think it is a serious point.
I got to admire Fox that he acknowledged that. He looked honestly at himself and he was like, listen, I'm not even the best CSGO player called Fox, because there was that guy in Virtus Pro a while back. I'm actually the 5th best player in this team, so I should be the support player. And so he realized that, he's accepted that role, and actually, seriously, it's true. Gamers2, previously called Kingwin, obviously, have been getting better and better every event that's come along. And so it's got to the point now where actually, I think I look at this tournament here, and they might be the 3rd best team in the tournament, and they probably have a chance to go to the final, maybe even.
How much of that improvement do we want to attribute to Legia being the in-game leader?
And also, very interesting question.
But also, the man who's been saying right from the start, okay, since he's joined up with the team, obviously, that we have to restructure. We have to restructure everything. In fact, there's a lot of roles that need to change as far as who's playing what and who's holding where. Do you think that this improvement is due to him and his leadership?
Let me just go and give my thoughts on that. I mean, one of the things that I really wanted to do right at the start of Kingwin's inception was to dislike them, because they were a bunch of popular players kind of thrown together with no real logic, rhyme, or reason to how the team was going to work. It felt like a cash grab. We all knew they were the highest paid team in Europe, kind of from nowhere. It was just ridiculous, filthy lucre, as they like to call it here in the UK. And obviously, it's at that juncture when there's so much money going into it, you want to dislike them. But then they got better every event. And every time a crisis arrived, they hit a bump in the road, such as their coach being caught with that, back ban. Yeah. What do? They just removed him. They replaced him. They bring in Legia, and they go on to strength. And now they're actually winning events. Same with this team of these brand names, and yet where's the ego? Like Duncan rightly says, that's why I think it is a serious point, all joking aside, for Fox to be like, hey, I'm the primary AWP, but actually, no, this isn't working. Okay, Makalele, you take over the AWP. Okay, I guess I'm the support player now. Hell, who cares as long as the team is successful? And it's very rare you're going to get a player of Fox's experience want to do that and be a sort of kind of in the back seat of the car, right? So, I mean, I'm actually warming to this team. I'm enjoying watching their evolution.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. I think this team has got a lot to prove here. They obviously took down Giants as Navi at the last event. Yep. Going up against SK Gaming, I think this is a game you would highly anticipate they win this one. Best of 1 series as well. I'm not sure. Oh, it's Inferno, in fact. So that's interesting. Could be a little bit of a hairy altercation for them if they go start on the terrorist side here. But their AK-47 play is truly stellar, especially the entry fraggers they have. Like I said, Dennis coming into this lineup really has impressed me. He has brought this team to life, it seems like. He's one of the players who can find frags at absolutely nowhere, especially when they lose the first kill. He seems to have that game knowledge and that gut instinct to go into certain situations and find 2 or 3 kills. It's really great to watch him sometimes. Yeah,
and I mean, I don't know if we really answered Semler's question about Legia and being the coach behind the team. I think it's very hard to say. You never can be sure how well a coach is doing. We saw this with Fnatic, for example, when Devil Walk was the coach, and I know Jonathan's been watching, and big shout out to him. When he was the coach, everybody was saying, well, it's Devil Walk, that's the secret, right? Like, Devil Walk's the guy, he's played in the team, he knows the players, they have his respect. Now that he's stood down to go and play again, this is going to really hit Fnatic. And then kind of Vugo comes in, and it's like business as usual, right? So, and then people are saying, well, is the coach important or isn't he?
Well, every team has a different role for their coach, right? Yeah. In Legia, he's much more hands-on. Obviously, there's going to be a language barrier within the team. He needs someone to hold it all together. And they actually have come out and said he is the in-game leader. He's not necessarily oriented. He's doing mid-round calls. I think that would be a little bit too far stretched. But going into the beginning of the round and giving them ideas and what they can do to actually break the team apart, it's very difficult to have mid-round calls in that sort of situation. I think it's Dennis who kind of takes the control when it gets down to the nitty-gritty when you're actually on the bomb side. But having someone there who can actually advise and keep everyone together and control that, I think that's very important. And like you said, Legia's done a fantastic job. I'm not sure we can credit all the success towards him, but he definitely has been influential.
He's played a part.
I actually think that it's Dennis that triggered all of this. Yeah. Because when people talk about Kingwin, they talk as though the lineup's been the same. Like, well, I always told you when they formed they'd be really good. No. The team that had Wheaton was very different. Yeah. That was not a team that even had much upset potential on one map. Never mind winning best of 3s over VP and Na'Vi. The second they inserted Dennis into that lineup, as he grew in the team grew likewise in proportion. And so they've won these big best of 3s. He's getting better as a player. He started off just okay, nowhere close to where he was when he quit in 2014, essentially from the top level.
Well, because he came in and he was calling for the team as well.
He then became more consistent. And now I think as a player, the key thing is, if you look at their team now, just personnel-wise, it makes sense. They've got Rain and Dennis are really stable players. And they do they're versatile, they can do all the things you need. Well, the problem is that the two bigger names, okay, Scream and Makalele, they're famously inconsistent players. Like, Scream will always get his frags, but they might not be the biggest impact frags. He might just clean up on ecos, or he might just get a couple of kills that don't win the round. Makalele gets those crazy, like, single rounds that turn a whole game, but that alone isn't enough to carry a team when you're talking about facing the top ones. So when you have the foundation set in place of Rain, really consistent player, winning clutches, etc. Then you have Dennis, who's doing all the things he needs to in the team. Now those guys, when they have the good performance, it puts you over the top to some degree. And so now you're seeing Kingwin's a team that the trajectory now is in 3 months from now, they should be like 7th best team in the world or something. They could go towards that because they've already got this track record with those wins over VP and Na'Vi. That's already bigger than some of the teams above them.
Well, all of this, I mean, I'm glad that you bring it on to Dennis because it was a crisis of leadership. Huiten was trying to lead before, that didn't work. Makalele was trying to lead before, that didn't work. They dumped Huiten, brought in Dennis. Dennis tried to lead, that didn't work. Then Delito steps in as the coach. He takes over the in-game leading role. Unfortunately, well, we all know what happened there. He got banned, and now it's Legia. So for me, it's like, right now, it's not, well, I mean, they're an experiment. Kingwin or Kingwin, G2 are an experiment. One, in the multi-language, barrier, how can this actually work in CS? That's the big experiment right there. But also now that the fact that they're fully committing to having their in-game leader be the 6th man. That's, I mean, there are 2 experiments happening on the same exact team that a lot of other teams in the scene can actually look to right now and get experience from, or at least gather that information from. This
is a controversial view and not anything I want to get into right now, but I almost think the experiment they're running in terms of having the coach behind them making all the calls, I actually think that's the future of Counter-Strike. I actually think that's where we're all going to be.
There's a big discussion going on
about
that.
We can fill when we've got time to fill, which I'm sure we will have. But let's talk about SK Gaming. I don't want G2 to sort of dominate this. Now, SK Gaming, they're in kind of a similar situation in the sense that they've recently made some changes. This is a lineup that I think they've done how many events now together? With this particular 5?
2 or 3, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of them. I think the last one I saw was APM.
Yeah, so I mean, we obviously saw them in the Ace Predator Masters, and I got to be honest, I thought they were a bit hit and miss. The one thing I will say is, when we talked about Cadian coming into this team, I highlighted him out, and I said I thought it was a massive downgrade in terms of firepower that they were bringing in for him. They've been doing this.
Now this is Config's first event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so
right.
He's the recent addition to the lineup.
He's the recent addition that come in. But I talked about Cadian.
Way too loud.
I talked about Cadian. Sorry, mate. I talked about Cadian coming in. We're having a bit of sound mix problems at the moment. Anyway, so I talked about Cadian coming in, and I thought it was a bit of a downgrade in terms of firepower, but he actually showed at the APM event that he's actually worth inclusion, and he played very, very well. And this dual-op setup that they were running at certain points was really working out for SK Gaming, but in the end they weren't able to translate it into tangible results.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like you said, Cadian, I think, has been stepping up to the plate. He has been filling in that AWP role, but this is an event we'd like to see where they are right now. Obviously, some changes being made almost every single time. I haven't seen too much of them since APM, to be honest. Like, we look towards Cadian to be the talisman here for us. Can be very handy as well. I'm not too sure how they're going to get on against a team like Kingwin. It's not the sort of team you want to go up against first at this tournament like this. A best of one, going against some of the best aimers in the world. It's going to be a very difficult affair for them, especially if they allow themselves to get pushed up and get locked down before they have a chance to actually execute any sort of strategies here. I think we're going to see a very aggressive game from Kingwin here. Guys can actually handle that is yet to be seen. I'm not so sure they have it within them yet, but like I said, I haven't seen too much of them as of recent.
Yeah, and of course we now move across to Kingwin, who we've been Gamers2, I should say rather, who we've been talking so much about, and you can see that we've got. I think this is getting close to not an all-star lineup, but a lineup where it's like you are really sort of highlighting top 5, top 10 players. From each region. They've really put together a really powerful roster.
Well, what's interesting as well is, the thing you touched on first, I think, is a really key psychological component, which is the idea that I was in the same boat because I knew these are players who've been rejected, rightfully so, from certain other teams for not fitting, not being good enough at their roles, and now suddenly they're bundled together in what's obviously a gimmick team to get exposure for a certain brand. And we know they're getting paid more than amazing players like Guardian and people like that who are fantastic players who deserve the spoils of victory, So that makes you naturally kind of root against them, like, oh, come on, this is kind of messed up. But what I've realized about this team is, initially, I thought, right, that pressure, these players aren't going to be able to handle it anyway.
Exactly.
They're almost a team where it feels like actually they thrive on that pressure. Like, they know some people don't like them, some people think they're crap, but actually, event on event, they are getting better and better, whereas usually teams like that, okay, you have one hot result, then the pressure of that makes you collapse the next one. You don't perform to the same degree. Oh, time, the races are going.
Time to go.
The Do continue.
Yeah.
if you want to.
I thought the clowns were coming out of the clown car. My bad. Okay, so anyway. So, no, that's the point I was kind of making, though, is actually, in a weird way, I think this team's done that, like, key tribal concept of, like, it's us against the world, and, like, who cares what the rest of the people outside our team think? Like, we think Fox is good, we think this guy's good, and you've seen, actually, it's working for them at the moment. Actually, they're the team where, when you see them in and this isn't an upset match, they're the favorite this time, but when you see them in upset scenarios, it looks like it's the other teams that get nervous, like, oh, we don't want to lose to, well, in the past, they were like, we don't want to lose to Kingwin, like, we'll be a laughing stock, and Kingwin just thrived off that. They didn't, like, fall apart and go, oh, we're not as good as people say. If anything, they have been actually growing as a team, beyond just the individual.
Well, they're putting the hard work in as well. It's not like they're relying on their individual skill. You can see every single tournament, they're coming in with more to their strat book. Legia definitely being influential in that department, especially on maps like Cash as well. Like a map you would rely on like players like this just to work picks, for example, and try to work off those, getting boosts in middle, stuff like that. But they actually have got some really nice full-on executions to fall back onto if their pick game isn't working out for them. And that's really important for a team like this.
Well, I was just going to say, what's going to be really important on this patch, of course, with this update is old Scream going to be back? We're talking about entry frags, we're talking about picks. Now that AD and D's back and the hitboxes all seem to be back to what they were, is Scream going to be the player that he was when he did sort of get ostracized by that French scene, when he was the human aimbot, ridiculous headshot ratios at every tournament he turned up? If he gets back to his old self, he's going to be a player to light up the server.
It's not like he's been bad recently either. We wouldn't say like he's not been the godlike status we expect from him 1 year ago, for example. But watching him recently in PGO, I know it's online games, but we have seen some glimmers of that coming back. And especially with this new update, like you said, I think it favors him. The slightly larger hitbox in the head is going to be massive for him. The AK always being his deadliest weapon, and whether he can find that form, that godlike sort of status, I'm really excited to see whether he can do that. And this is the perfect game to see whether that's going to arrive. Going up against a lesser team, perhaps having the skill advantage against them, this is going to be a sign of things to come, I think.
Two romantic gestures.
What's going on the screen?
Yeah, two romantic gestures in the crowd. We saw Cajun grabbing the nose of his girlfriend, and then I think the guy didn't even know he was on camera. He reached over his mate and did the same thing, like Cyclo. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so I definitely agree. I'm hoping that Scream can get back to it himself. I feel like the scene did lose something. He was like a phenom. He played in a style that, and Duncan, you've talked about this on your videos before, it was almost detrimental in a way, because it was like, I only want to click on the head. I only want a one bullet tap on the head. So there was instances where you would have the opportunities to have spray downs and he wouldn't be able to capitalize, but his headshot ratio, his one bullet aim and his entry picking was absolutely phenomenal.
The problem was, he was the ultimate example of the player who has the phenomenal talent and who makes it not like, oh, I'm going to have my talent and then work on other aspects. It's like, the talent is my crutch. It's all I'm going to go on. I'm going to, every time I win a battle, it's going to be, I'm going to try and out-aim you. I'm going to try and make the headshot while you're spraying the body. Now, when that works, it looks so spectacular. Like, wow, it's the best player in the world. And he was the most hyped player, certainly, because he had all the highlights. The problem is, at the same era when Scream was really hyped, the best player in the world was Get Right, who had a low headshot percentage, because he used to just spray everyone in the chest, kill everyone, win all the situations by just being in good positions, just getting the drop on people using his brain. And so you see the different ends of the spectrum there. And the problem with Scream was, I think this is why he never truly fit into the existence lineups, is that if you're in the existence lineup, one thing you can't be is inconsistent, because he has to know what he's going to get this round to know what to use you for. And so he would put Scream in these situations, and his talent could make it work some of the time, but it was never enough that he was really like a viable weapon. Like, I know exactly I'm going to get this from Scream, and I'm not sure he's ever quite gotten to that level. I think he still suffers from that a bit, but in a weird way, the AD being limited, so his main strength got
that was his bread and butter, right?
That kind of made him, I think, have to develop a little bit more of the game, because at that point, even his phenomenal talent couldn't just carry him alone as an individual player.
And just to talk about a player on SK Gaming that we feel we should watch, do we have any names out there in terms of kind of raw firepower? I mean, look, I bring him up every tournament. I've been impressed with him in the past. I still think the sleeper needs to awaken a little bit with him, but I just think Caecilian can be this difference maker for SK Gaming. I'm always impressed with the way he plays. I just feel if he can get an extra 10%, he can be something really special. Do you agree?
Sure.
Anyone?
It's all right.
Analysts,
I'll tell you something
assemble.
Something very interesting that I noticed about SK Gaming was when they first formed that lineup and joined SK Gaming, the person who was always panned, particularly by his peers actually in the Danish scene, was actually Sanden, and they used to be like, oh, this guy's terrible, like we wreck him in every practice. And actually, in a whole bunch of tournaments I saw, he played like as one of their best players or above average each time. So I think actually, interestingly, maybe the pro players themselves even were, for some reason, I don't know, maybe trash talks, I don't know what it could be. They were a little bit off the mark with that one. He's actually been one of the better players I've seen in this team the times I've seen them play.
But no love for Cillian, though.
No, there's love for Cillian. He's also one of the young and up-and-coming talents, essentially. He kind of got relegated to, just for a lack of space on Dignitas, to SK. I think that's how it actually played out. So as far as Cillian is concerned, he's still got to just hang in there. It's one of those things where it's the grind.
Do we know if Cadian's still on trial right now?
He was found guilty of being absent. Just kidding, of course. Just all jokes. Enjoy those majors, mate.
But no, look, I think at this point, I think he proved himself, right? I mean, he did.
Certainly proved something about himself.
No, but I mean, honestly, and I thought of the Ace Predator Masters, like we gave him a hard time going in there. I still stand by what we said, but he actually performed well above my expectations for him. And what's interesting, what I like about him is, of course, even though he's not the in-game leader within this team, he is someone who's been an in-game leader before. He is someone who's very tactically astute, can be that sort of second voice for the team.
He's sat in the middle now. Maybe there.
Yeah, I wonder if there has been a change.
I think
actually,
it probably has, to be honest.
And in that case, that's something he definitely excels at. Anyway, guys, we've got the knife round going live. So before we get into the ins and outs, Cadian, I really need to nail you down to some predictions here. So,
okay, I'll go. Gamers2 are going to win 16-10.
Yep.
If they get the CT start, I think it's going to be a much bigger result than that. I think it'll probably be around the 16 sort of mark towards Gamers2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd actually second that. I'd say 16-5, 16-6 towards Gamers2.
Yeah, I got a feeling this could be an absolute mauling for Gamers2 here, but I guess we'll wait and see. Guys, I've got to say, we need to end it there and get into the game. Thanks a lot for your thoughts. Looking forward to talking to you again when we come back. But for now, we're going to go over to Anders and Sadakist. They're going to bring you Gamers2 versus SK Gaming in Group B here at DreamHack London. Take it away, boys.
Yes, welcome ladies and gentlemen. We're finally ready with Inferno. It's Gamers2 versus SK Gaming here for a best-of-1 game. And we're into the second group. Sadakist, how do you feel about this one? The panel seemed decidedly on Gamers2's side.
I don't blame them. I mean, Gamers2, they've now made it into the major. They don't have to qualify. They took one of the 8 spots. They actually, technically, if you want to look at it, took Mouse Sports' spot, who failed to qualify for a second time. They've improved a lot, and it's like they said on the panel as well, it's an experiment. They've got multinational languages involved. They've got a 6th man as the full in-game leader for the team, which they're the only ones right now. There's a lot of teams that are starting to experiment with that, and the more I talk to players, the more people seem to think that is the way to go. But they're the only ones doing it full-time. Undoubtedly, they've proven themselves. SK, for me, has never really materialized into the legendary SK we all knew, and it was never expected to be with this set 5 that they have, but they also haven't really done anything. Like, I guess like Richard said, they've impressed him at times, but they haven't done anything for me to really make me think that, like, they are a top-level team. They're still in the Tier 2 realms for me.
Yeah, and this whole thing about having people on trial, and then I think Freeze was on vacation for a while, so they played with a couple of other people instead, and it just all seems like a little bit too, wobbly. It seems like there's too much going on, really. We've known already in the past from like multiple different teams that having a consistent lineup and playing with the same people is absolutely key. And it feels like SK haven't really got a big chance to do that yet. They keep having, just like, swapping people in and out, it seems. Yeah. But whether it's just vacation or whatever, but still.
And I guess that's one way to look at it is the commitment level, the amount of effort they're putting in as a team, the amount of time they're dedicating to the game. I mean, you look at teams like Fnatic, Envious, it's full on. I mean, yes, they're Tier 1, they're going to be at all the main events, but they're constantly working to improve. And SK's kind of quiet. They just kind of show up here and there. We see them at events, but we don't really hear much about what's going on behind the scenes. Then, like you say, aside from when we see a stand-in come in, and obviously Katie and the more recent TSM guys sitting up front.
Yes, excellent display. Dupree was just quietly excited. I think Cajun was up to something much worse there. All right, well... so, I mean, I'm going to have to go with Gamers2 as well, even though, it breaks my heart. SK,
Danish Pride.
Danish Pride and all that stuff. I feel like it's going to be a really tough game. They are playing on Inferno. Traditionally, historically speaking, Global Offensive, there's been a lot of really good Inferno teams. But I'm not sure if SK is going to be able to beat Gamers2 on this one. Even if they start CT side, I think it's going to be an uphill struggle. It just seems like the individual skill, if you match just every player on Gamers2 to every player on SK on a one-to-one basis, they'll come out on top more or less every time.
Absolutely. And the other thing with Gamers2 is if they can manage to bait out the utilities, if they can make them use all their smoke grenades, Molotovs, etc., then they don't have anything to shut down that superior aim that they're going to be facing against Gamers2. So they've really got to be calculated on their defense. Like you say, even on the CT side, this is going to be tough for them in a lot of ways.
Bit of a soft kind of high five there.
Camaraderie.
Just the you know, when you sort of slip from it being like an actual high five into being just a little bit too feely, you know?
Do you want to high five me like that for good luck this game, Anders?
I mean, people can't see, but it feels weird.
That does
you
feel
do
weird.
actually have very smooth hands. I didn't know
you.
that about you.
There's lots you don't know about me.
And now you guys know at home as well. We're going to go into Inferno. Yeah, it's going to be a best-of-1 game here. DreamHack London, and it's going to be Gamers2 starting on the CT side, so SK won't even get the benefit of doing that. They've got the one smoke, couple of flashbangs, but otherwise it's all armor, and yeah, they are moving away at the map. Not really too aggressive. No quick rush here, but looks like they might just want to try and clear out apartments, which is not such a bad idea.
Scream's going to take advantage of that, not having any presence on Banana to push down, find out more information, get in a potential flank position early on so they could pincer off SK in the A site. He's already spotted up Freeze, so information gained. It's still, like you say, SK, they're not putting a lot of pressure so far on A. They're just waiting this out, and so far 2 smokes have already been deployed from G2 at the top of middle. There's no kits as well. If they can make a very quick execution onto this site and get a bomb down, then there's a chance they can hold off the retake.
Still 55 seconds as Dennis does just take a peek into apartments and spots a couple of people, and they've got Mike Kelly up in Graveyard here. Really good position. Flashbang in, but he ducks right under it. Dennis will get a kill, but Mike Kelly going down. Dennis trying to pick up another weapon. Not going to be quick enough. It's working out in favor of Gamers2. They've got the man advantage in the bomb. It's only just going down here at 30 seconds left. It looks good for the CT side. Sander will pick up an important kill, and now it's back to a 2v2.
Inside the site, he's already spotted up as well. Fox is going to try pushing, and both of them coming from the same angle. There's not much he can do. He's overwhelmed, and now it comes down to Sandin, who manages to get some damage into Fox, and so far they can't kill him. He manages to get behind the pillar. Finally, Scream will put him down. Do they have enough time? It's going to be desperately close. I think they may just with no kit. I
think they're just going to make it in the last couple of seconds here, which is kind of ridiculous because it almost looked like Sandin was going to survive long enough for that to work. A little bit of an awkward end to that round. But it works out in favor of Gamers2, and I love the setup there. Michael Ellis' position is great because you saw him duck, and that covers him from the flashbang. He knew that was going to happen, so smart position.
Bomb plant nonetheless for SK, so they won't invest too heavily in this round, and we know what that means for the third one. And what's the response going to be when the time comes? They've already gone for 3 rifles right now on G2 side, so they won't have to upgrade too heavily. And a push from Rain, already down mid. Nade went out, not a lot of damage dealt, but he's going to get to that mid stairs, and there's not really going to be much of a response because already they've got an alt middle in the meantime.
I look at this, they're just running into the apartments. They're going to be out on this A-bomb site. Mike Hillel is here, but the bomb is already in sight. This is kind of a terrible start. Sandin will be able to take down Rain as well, and we're going to be in a 4v3. Bomb ticking away, and look what, no defuse kit currently picked up here for the CT side. This is a disaster.
And this is more so because even if they can't secure this round, SK, as they now still have the man advantage. Another trade, they've also picked up the M4, but I was going to say they've hurt the economy so much that the T's with 2 bomb plants may come out with the better buy in the third round here. Eventually, Gamers2, they will be able to find the kills. Kingwin, take what you want to call them, but
I don't think he's enough
he doesn't have time. He doesn't this time at all, so twice now kits come into play. The first time only just. This time they've got to back out of it. So not only did they have a third round buy, they've got the advantage going into it.
Well, this is a huge win, obviously, because when you eco and then you win like this, you're going to get so much money to work with. Just a really big round. They had 1 smoke and 2 flashbangs as well on the terrace side. And obviously, Gamers2 just overextending, a little bit too much confidence. I mean, I love Rain running down because he's got the SMG, but the second
player,
get
the information. There's more movement speed.
And even if he dies, it doesn't really impact that round so much. But that M4 going down close to second mid, that was awful.
Yeah, that was huge. And how quickly they got to that bomb site as well and got that bomb in play. It looked like it was ultimately just to get more guns and utilities in this round, and then it turned out they found the picks immediately after, so they'll put some pressure on Banana. That nade did bounce quite successfully to Cadian's feet, so 60 HP left on him, and Fox is going to take this as the flash comes over, looks for the peak information gain, but no kill and a bit of a miscommunication. 2 smokes deployed, and we talked about it. If they don't have smokes available, then it's going to be a lot more difficult.
And SK heard that as well. And they've got more than a minute still, so this is great. There's nobody left to smoke this B bomb site now. It is absolutely key. The fact that SK can turn it around so quickly means it's going to be a while before Gamers2 get into that comfort zone where they can buy Molotovs and smoke grenades and, you know, keep smoking from Archway and all that good stuff that we all know CT sides love doing on Inferno. You can see they're waiting out the smoke. Soon they're going to realize there isn't going to be another smoke put up here, and then they're going to be able to walk in, and it's going to be tough for Fox to try and hold on. He's got the M4, but he's going to do really well. Tries to take a peek once. There's so many people coming in. He gets a kill and goes downstream. Well, the Deagle will get one, but they're going to be able to hit the bomb plant here in a 4v3 retake attempt, I think, coming out from the CT side.
And Scream just rotating around so he can stay alive and have a better chance when his teammates do get on the case, but the smoke in front of him won't allow for much. Rain does get Katie and picks up a rifle now to work with as well, so the AK-47, it's not even going to be an impact. Freeze gets the shot, but the response is successful. Dennis going to push through. He has TZ as Cillian waits, but there's still 2 players staring him down. Again, there is no kit, so he just needs to buy time, but he's gone already. And that'll do it. They'll pull this back, G2, and pick up round number 3. They're second in total.
Oh, very interesting. I mean, that is bringing it right back in. It honestly did look to me like that was going to be possible. Fox, he did a good job getting the 1 kill and doing a lot of damage, but it still looked like they weren't going to be able to win that one. They moved very quickly, so potentially I think some good leadership going on Gamers2 as well, because you need some central person to make that call there. Either we all commit to doing this retake right now without the kit and without almost anything, or we just look for exit frags, and they just stuck it in there.
Just gonna lob that nade. Standard play down middle. This time doesn't catch anyone. G2's been playing quite passively on Banana, and a lot of the contention around this map focuses on that part because it's kind of like plays out like a mid control in many other situations. And Henry's talked about this. Moses, all the analysts, color commentators talk about this. If you could hold that Banana position and get that presence of mind and get even just one player that you can early rotate off and help support A just so much easier. And yet they're not doing that here.
It's something that changes so much back and forth, it seems, because whenever you try and take the aggressive control, there are teams that are really good at breaking it as well. So it seems like Gamers2 right now just content to setting up this crossfire here. They have still got 1 smoke left on Fox, so that's very important as well in case something happens at B. But it seems like it might be a bit of an A hit this time around. Molotov goes into the ninja corner, and Dennis already tagged. Shot in the face, down to 75 with Cadian. He can't finish it. Sandon's going to go down as well. It's called Dennis Beast, and right now he's doing a really good job. 5 versus 3 here at 25 seconds left. If Gamers2 win this round, SK's economy is gone.
Rain goes for that bounce flash as well to try and get the shot. Dennis comes back in with yet another 3 in the round total. At it, he's up to 4. Can he find it? I'm not sure he's going to be given the opportunity. SK, they'll bail out. Save the only weapon they have, because like you say, economy is going to be a massive factor against them going in to the next one.
Yeah, and it's obviously very bad as well. SK doing no economic damage here. They only managed to make the other team waste a couple of grenades here, so a lot more money on the CT side, which is really where things start to get out of control. I feel like once we see Molotovs and smokes on the CT side, things are going to get really tough. Because when you just have smokes, it actually is a little bit difficult as a CT side to manage to time them right. When you get the Molotov in there as well, you've got so much more space to work with, and even not a top-tier team. I mean, Gamers2 have been really good, but even a team that's not so good at playing Inferno will still be able to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's aptly named. The Molotovs are the thing that indicates so much play for the CT side. It's another 7 seconds you can delay it. So much damage done. You can completely just deny Banana using it. By the way, just to make note, because we've talked about it a little bit going into the tournament, Michael Lilly is still holding on to the A1S, so still holding on to the old dream. He won't let it go, but flash out. Scream's got the first. Fox wants to follow this up, but they've fallen back accordingly, so he's not able to find the early pick. Does manage to take down a Cillian in the end, and if they go too hard against him, well, they'll run into Scream waiting, and that's exactly what happens. So 4-1 Gamers2 is exactly the start that they were looking for against SK, more so because it's CT side as well for them.
I mean, there was a lot of contention for the early rounds, but once you get out on top of these rounds, and especially when you're playing CTs on Inferno, it's going to get tough. I'm really wondering what SK are going to show us now. They've got the money this time. Config playing with the Tech 9 instead, so taking one for the team here. Still a pretty good setup for this round, I think, and looks like they're going to try and be a little bit faster on top Banana, just hoping to secure that. If they want to secure apartments, though, they're going to have to deal with this Rain and Dennis setup.
Yeah, very aggressive style. In fact, leaving Archway entirely open and doing it, so they've got a lot of pressure in that single point in the map. Look at Michael. He's also on the stairwell inside this boiler position and have to be successful on these first shots, otherwise they'll give it all up, and Dennis is able to pick up 2. Config and Katie, and gone as quickly as that. Rain's still in position, so even if they wanted to chase, they can, and not to mention the apartment buildings are burning. And Rain's going to turn back and find Freeze, who's unaware that he's still forward. Give it to a Cillian to follow up, but 2 men only remaining now for SK.
Such a solid setup, obviously. Cillian and Sandon left here, and I mean, at this point, they need to get kills on Gamers2, otherwise it's not going to work out. They need to get some frags in, and Cillian responsible for one of them. He does not have the bomb, so the best he can do in this round is simply get more kills on the board here and hope it's going to work out. Rain will be going down, goes back into the site. Does actually see the face of Michaelele there, but can't get the shot. It's better than nothing. At least they're causing economic damage here.
And they have to. I mean, they got to look to salvage whatever they can from this. Again, if they get a lost round bonus, it's going to start working against them in the fact that, you know, if they can only win 1, if they're at least close on economy, maybe then they have to go out to 1 or 2 pistols. That gives them a chance to win a successive round, but if they don't even have that chance, they don't even give themselves the opportunity, then all they're going to do is get reset immediately, and it's just a free kick for G2. And down mid, look at this aggression as well. Michaelele getting to the bench immediately undetected with the A4, or A1 rather.
He's got the backup here as well this time. A little bit of smoke and a Molotov going on SK, so maybe just trying to make the most of it. That Molotov though is going to force Sandon back. Scream takes 1 to the face, and I mean, SK just trying to get the most out of this round, see if they can come up with a lucky kill early on and maybe make something of it. Those first 4 rounds that they played, that they traded back and forth, they really had a big impact on the rest. They will have a big impact on all the rest of this half, basically.
I like how SK is like, oh, we'll just boost here and see if we can pick one, and mid the second the guy gets up there, boom, gone. No, that didn't work. Slow round considering they're on the pistols here. Perhaps hoping that they'll catch G2 off for being over-aggressive, but so far they've thought better of it. We saw a lot of mid presence, but now just falling back, turtling up. They know the situation definitely resides in their favor. There is a repeat now from Fox. Again, it's just a matter of timing here. 28 seconds left. They're not even putting any pressure, although the bomb is trying to lurk. As all this activity is happening in middle, the bomb is trying to work through, but in the apartments, config will be found. Rain gets the kill. And now what can SK do to possibly even respond here?
I mean, it's going to have to be one of these rounds. There's just so many rounds now where G2 are coming up with too many members surviving, essentially. Their economy is essentially growing all the time. So SK have been in a position for a while where if they just won a single round, they'd at least have a shot at sort of forcing an eco. Now they have to win consecutive rounds, and as the sort of current pattern shows, 6-1, it's not a good chance of that. If you only win 1 in 7 rounds, you're not gonna get that much out of a half.
Yeah. 2 to 3, best case on that math, Anders. That's how that works.
Oh, I see. I was trying not to do it just because I'd embarrass myself, but there you go, being brave again. Well,
there's smoke deployed.
It's gonna be Rain going down first. This time around, config. No, I mean, we did say this is like his first big event with this team.
Absolutely.
So super hard, obviously, to play this level if you haven't tried it before. He's not been given much of a chance either.
You say that like you haven't tried it before. You can just sign up and just be here tomorrow, Anders.
Yeah. I like to believe that, you know, if I wanted to.
CPL is a real thing still. Michaelele, he'll be holding on this time at the top of the middle. Another Molotov deployed from G2's perspective, so just blocking out the terrorists of any movement. And Freeze is gone for this AWP. We haven't really seen it come into play yet. He is trying to find the entry on B right now. He's going to be the first man, at least to scout the site, to get that information, but none of it really gathers in his favor, and a flash forces him off the top of the cart. But watch the play. It does work out as Dennis gets a little bit over-aggressive and looks for the information from this pool. Scream, meanwhile, still back in emo. He's going to pop back out, and 2 kills already. We talked about the headshot machine. Well, finally, the third one is a headshot, but 3 kills overall, and Scream's done just enough. It's left to Freeze, who has to switch to the rifle, and it doesn't even matter.
Getting that frag at coils and having the smoke up towards CT spawn, it seemed like they should have been able to outplay Scream in that corner, but he just managed to get the angle perfectly. Great triple kill here, and you could tell they're all focused on shooting through the smoke over there. and it's not quite working out for them. So a bit of a mess up as well, I think, for SK. It's just fine having one person covering the smoke so that nobody sort of charges through, but the other 2 or 3 players should have been there and to take care of Scream, and they obviously weren't.
Nice smoke on mid, so they had to bring the AWP player, Dennis, back inside of safety, segregated away from his support system, but now we are seeing a little bit more aggression in Banana. Great shot by Dennis to open this up, but now they're starting to push the offense the way they want them to force the play as the Kinguin have Fox down low, and Dennis comes up, big 3, make it 4! This is a big round from him before Freeze finally gets back in. He'll pick up the AWP in return, but it's not even likely he'll be able to save it at this point. Tagging up Scream, that's all he manages.
Wow, what a performance from Dennis. He's a terrifying player. And you can see just rubbing his hands together, feeling pretty good as well as he should. I mean, that was a powerful start. The first kill's easy enough, but he sticks around for the rest of them, and almost an ace with an AWP on Inferno. SK seem slightly shook at this point. They're shell-shocked. 7-1 turned into 8-1.
Tagged up Sandin as well through that second kill. Does end up getting him down 4 HP before he even got around the corner.
So, gotta wonder now if it is a tactical pause of sorts coming out here. Now would be a really good time for it. You don't need an overwhelming amount of rounds on Terror's side, but you definitely need to get up around 5 or 6, and that ship has almost sailed here. I mean, at this point, it's becoming obvious that if they play this slow and try and take a lot of aim duels and battles versus Gamers2, they'll come up short almost every time. They don't have the power for it. They don't even have like one person right now who is sort of distinguishing himself as a, you know, the entry fragger, the guy who's going to open up somewhere. So maybe the thing to do is to try and go for like some set executes and do them quick, you know, try and not wait around too long.
2 points to that matter. Freeze was trying with the AWP to find the entries. He's the one who's taking that responsibility, which ultimately he can't do, and economically they can't sustain. But like you said, go quick. We saw the pistol round and the ensuing eco. They went extremely quick into the bomb sites, and they actually managed to get 2 bomb plants out of it, a third in the third round as well. But more so that eco round, I mean, that was the whole play, was just get the bomb down, and it worked out in their favor. So you might be onto something there. I mean, if they can start to get that level of aggression again, and I mean, most of the success in those cases came toward the A site. If they can manage to get down apartments and open up at least some form of map control, then there might be a chance.
Well, we saw Legia standing behind, just talking to the team. I mean, when the other team takes a timeout, you might as well talk about whatever you're going to do. But it's kind of hard, you know. What could we do better, guys? We've won the last, you know, 8 rounds in a row. They're just going to keep going, obviously.
Standard nade this time does do a little bit of damage. Confire and Asilian both tagged down. Asilian's on 1 HP. Fox is going to take down Sandin. He'll get one more, but then finally Cadian does respond with the CZ75, and Scream gets dropped. Cadian gets that kill as well because he picked up the M4, and very low HP now for Dennis as well, but the fire was in place, so they couldn't walk through. They couldn't follow up on the space they'd gained for themselves, and as such, Rain is definitely in place and ready now.
3v3, plenty of time right now, and I like the fact that SK are just waiting around and hoping that Gamers2 are going to make a mistake and come and peek. If they could get a kill on somebody here, that'd make their choice of bomb site very easy. Instead, a smoke has been saved, and it's just now going up. Michael still has a Molotov over at that A site, so it makes sense right now for me for them to put 2 people on A and leave Michael in pit. It's such a strong position to hold on to that A bomb site with. I think he's going to be fine. So, setting up Molotov in the back. Actually, Dennis is very low on health, but the Molotov, is it going to... Oh, sorry. Yeah, Rain there, not going to get killed by, I guess, the double shot, and finally Cadian will take him down. Dennis, so I was trying to say, low on health, but not dead yet.
Bomb does get planted, and if Cadian can find Dennis, who's so low on HP, he's also drawn the CZ75 up close, which is definitely not only headshot range, but with low HP on Cadian, viable. It could be all over, but if Cadian in turn can find him, equally so. It may just be enough. He's got his back exposed. Flash comes in, and that'll do it. Perfect execution from G2, and Cadian looked like he wanted to go around that corner to take the fight, knowing if he could isolate one player, he'd win it. Instead, he gets passive, and the result is that Gamers2, well, they're just going to cushion their lead even further.
Yeah, I really wish I could be listening into to Legia's voice comms here. So I am really wondering if he isn't the guy. This is the sort of situation where I think a lot of these players on Gamers2 would have instinctively tried to go for it instead of waiting for each other. It's really clear that there was like a total, halt on the guy playing construction, just saying, no, like Dennis, just don't do anything, stand still, wait. And then when they were both there, they had the time to go for it. It seems well orchestrated, to be honest. It seems like they've got some, like a really good communication going on here. And that could well be that sixth person just waiting. Dennis. Oh no, he's gonna go down. It's Config with the kill. Sandin drops. Config picks up a second kill. Finally, he's being put into play a little bit here.
Absolutely, and now this gives them the man advantage. They do try and act quickly upon it, but they've gotten Michael back in pit, which is very key in this moment. He's got a player that's crept up, Asilian, in by Moto, but finding that first kill on Config is going to slow them even further, not to mention the smoke deployed on Cadian's vision. Can't walk through, and Fox is able to pick up Freeze. Michael-Lele's got one more before that, onto Asilian, and now it's just down to Cadian, and he can't even walk in. It's going to be 10-1, Gamers2. This is domination at this point.
Not much more to say, really. I mean, it's hard to analyze the game at this point because, I mean, obviously G2 just going ham here. They're not giving up. And SK, they've tried a couple of different things. I still feel like the fast approach is the preferable one here. They tried as much as they could, but they did run into some trouble up in apartments this time.
And again, Michael-Lele rotating into pit very quickly was the right call, because if they gave that up and then they couldn't control apartments, and there was a really good chance with not only that, the wrap from Asilian on Moto, that they would have at least been able to control enough of the section of the A site to get a bomb plant in. But him getting in pit and getting the 3 kills, nothing at all they can do. Fox again flashes out. No one's going to peek on that aggressively down Banana, but just getting presence. The mid smoke as well. Middle of Banana, not mid in the map, but that gives them a chance to get in behind the car. They're not going to take that. They're actually going to fall off of this. And SK, they're limited at the top and middle as well.
They've got a lot of Molotovs still in play here on the T side, so I'm glad to see them using some of the, just checking these positions. They need this round. They need all the remaining rounds. In fact, Molotov in the middle here. Cadian very close to hitting a shot there. Would have been a big opening kill if they could have taken down Rain. He's not hiding in. Ninja Flash comes through, but Michael is going to go down anyway. We'll see if Rain can work some of his magic up here. Dennis buying time, 30 seconds, headshot on Cadian, and they can't even make it out of an apartment. That Molotov is keeping them back, so Config can't really even avenge that kill. And now Rain's going to be here spraying, but Sandin drops him. Dennis is close, no scope once, and he's going to walk right into that headshot. So now things are looking just a tiny bit better for the Danes.
And the key is that there was no one in pit that time. So once they could get out of apartments, they could control enough of the site. Smoke as well in front of Library. Really good chance they're going to push through this in a double stack in the corner. This is a bit awkward right now. It may catch G2 off guard, but it could just as easily backfire if Asilian doesn't find that first kill, but successfully doing so leaves just Scream 1 on 3. And SK, well, they may just pick up their second round enders, but they're still on pace for the 1 and 7, like you said.
I mean, second round, there's some high fives going on. They haven't been completely broken yet. They're still feeling like it's possible here. What do you think? Matthew? If they get the remaining rounds, are you gonna give them a chance at least?
No. No, going over to T side, absolutely. I mean, this one's pretty much done and dusted. Again, they're going to be going against the aim duels this time.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much harder. Again, if G2 can bait out the utilities, they've got so much entry potential, which we're not seeing at all from SK. I mean, sure, maybe if they get 5, there's a slim chance, but it's going to rely on a pistol round. It's going to rely on perfect execution. I don't think it's going to happen at all here.
Oh, I'm having a hard time believing it myself, but they're going to have to try and prove us wrong here. Flashbang out Michael down that pit, but he's close, a lot closer than last time, and Config will be able to take him out. Sandin falls next, and Scream just out in the open, ready to take a fight. Maybe a bit too much here. He's going to go down to a grenade, but Dennis shows up with a double kill and tries to make it back through the fire. Gonna have to hold that for a little while. Config playing close here. He's already got the double, but he can't see a thing, and Rain will take him out, and now it's all on Freeze. A 1v3 in the pit. He's going to take down Dennis first. Next in line, can he get the kill? Needs to make this into a 1v1. He misses the shot, and they're right on top of him. No scope on Rain. And next in line, it's Fox behind. He's got 40 seconds here. Freeze has to get this round, but he goes down. He misses the shot, and Fox will drop him. That was so close.
And how much that round means, not only were they going to be on the back foot anyway, because they reset the lost round bonus and lost 4 members, but now they're fully on the eco. It's 11-2. It's about to be potentially 12-2 on this. I mean, this just throws it all out the window.
They kind of might as well force up in a round like this. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to play for like 12-3.
Of course.
I mean, it's not a pretty scoreline anyway. So yeah, I just go for what they've done here anyway.
So So the AK is really the only factor. They've got 2 Tech 9s. And so far it works out. Config actually takes down Asilian, but Cadian makes up for it. He gets Dennis, brings it back to 4 versus 4. They line up though, and Rain, he's gonna drop 2 plus the bomb. And he's still got plenty of HP and positional control to work into this play. They managed to at least recover that bomb, but with the smoke out and a nade going through, the damage is just stacking against them, particularly Freeze, who ends up burning alive. And Sandin trapped in the corner as well has got not long for life as they'll push on. He does pick up the first as they walk through blindly into that smoke. He may just get the second and does so against Scream, nearly lining up the third in behind. So Rain with 2 kills is down to 29. If Sandin with 4 HP could pull this off, how ridiculous would that be?
I'd probably be a big confidence boost here for SK, but I don't think it's going to happen. He walks into Rain, he gets a triple kill. And, not sure what those hand signals were there from Mikelele, but either way, things are working out just smooth here. It's going to go into the last round of the half here, 15th round coming up, and we were all agreeing that SK were the underdog team here, but right now Gamers2 are looking like a very strong team.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we've come to expect. They've definitely improved massively, and it's also, keep in mind, Legia, as we see Dennis, look at this push, P90 into alt mid. They're all blinded up as well. Perfect flash to get him in position. He may just pick up a second. Asilian, in conjunction with all of his teammates, managed to do just enough damage to put him down in the end, but Scream's going to follow up on this. I'll finish my point in a second as Sandin will get that shot on Scream. Mikelele will come into play with that A1, and that's a big kill. Fox going down does leave a rifle available to SK, who now have a 2-man advantage, and all Cadian needs to do is just push forward, but he doesn't have the information that it's safe to do so, and Rain is going to be waiting for him, nearly loses his life, down to 4 HP, but now it's just Rain and Mikelele against 3 players for SK. We're hesitant than ever. All 3 of them stacked up right now, waiting for that fire to extinguish a boiler, and now they'll make their entrance known.
Walking back through Archway here, they've got the bomb, they've got the time as well. Mikelele going to back down Pit and SK. Timing here looks to be decent enough. They've got 3 smokes, so they don't even have to fight Mikelele. If they find out he's here, they can just smoke him off, put the bomb down, wait all day, and then Rain will have to come in and try and help out. Only chance for Mikelele is getting an early kill. Bomb is actually in plain sight, but he couldn't get the shot there. Now he's out of bullets, has the deagle out, and Asilian will drop him. So it looks like 12-3 is the likely scoreline here. Rain just not enough health, I think, to clutch this 1v3. Charging in, shooting through the box, then goes down. And it's going to be that 12-3 scoreline here. It's not too much to celebrate on SK's side, I feel like.
It's been done on Inferno before, but right now I just think they're heavily outscaled in this match. To finish my point, though, Legia came in right after Delito's ban just before the major. And a lot of people didn't even think that, you know, it would be much of a factor. But now that he's had some time to work with this team, and we're seeing he's quite vocal. Every, camera shot we've seen of him, he's been involved in the conversation. For the first team to go with this 6-man calling, and like you said, how much did it contribute to the patience in that 2-on-1 that they had? You got to wonder, with time, how good is this team going to get under his leadership?
So, I mean, actually, Legia is one of the people I sometimes talk to whenever I try and figure out stuff on maps in general, because he has a ridiculous database of smokes in his head. He just knows a lot of tactics. And obviously, when you say knowing a smoke, it's not just about knowing where to throw the smoke. You need to have a plan in mind. So he just has a really, really big arsenal of tactics that he can show up with. But it seems like they're even being able to put them into use here, which is good news. SK running this round with 3 armors, 4 on Gamers2. And it looks like they might try and set up for a bit of a pop flash in the middle.
Will cover off. Moto, allow them to wrap onto the archway. Bomb's going to go with them, but Rain's the first man in. Checks the ninja corner, and it is going to be a CT push, but don't go all the way, don't dare. This is tricky. They're going to go back through library, and if they walk, there was a stack in that B site. Now they've just got 1 member to contend with inside of A.
Oh no, Cadian, the only one here. C-set 75 in hand. He's going to hear that bomb going down, and the call is being made. They're out of position. Mikelele coming up from behind. He goes down. But how are they going to be able to retake this? Asilian is all the way across the map with the defuse kit here. This is a disaster.
Cadian needs to pick up a second kill right now. If he could pick up a second kill and at least make it a 5-on-3 when his teammates arrive, there's a much, much better chance, but they're going to run into Scream, who does what Scream does. 2 headshots, Config getting only 1 in response, and it is the trade, which may just be enough, but is it? As Confire, he's going to get closer. He's got the defuse kit. He's going to try and get on this. He's got the smoke out as well, and Rain's going to have to go in with the knife. Confire's holding it. He's down. He's got it. Well done by Confire.
Wow. Rain just not able to do it as Cillian with a big laugh there. Very interesting. I mean, we've been hearing a lot about how Config is, you know, potentially an up-and-coming talent in the Danish scene, but that was
totally called him Confire there too.
It's late. It's late.
It's one of my bosses at Vulcan. It's just like in my head. It is late.
Well, I feel like we've been going for a very long time as well, and I think the best games are still to come. If Gamers2 win this, which there's a really good chance that they will, they're going to be playing TSM. Now that's going to be a fun game. This one, though, I mean, you said we've seen it before on Inferno, the ridiculous comeback, and it's true, but I need a lot of evidence that it's going to happen here. I need solid proof.
And that, I mean, time's going to tell here as well, as they're going to try and execute with just these pistols, but we got to give him at least to the gun rounds, and Config comes up big again. 2 kills plus the assist on the nade from Cillian, and he adds that up with 2 more, so 4+1. Looking solid on the CT side, Config.
Yeah, that looked very smooth as well. There's no real panic in his movement, just focus on each target and moving on to the next one afterwards. So a bit of a start, you know, getting our hopes up. But we've been here before where suddenly we start to think, all right, maybe it's possible, maybe it's doable, and then once the other team starts to get rifles again, everything changes once more. But we'll give SK the benefit of the doubt here and see if they can show something very cool indeed. This round, not too much happening here for Gamers2. They still have the weapons of the economy. They'll be taking it slowly.
He's going to fall back. Again, there's going to be a lot of pressure put onto this pit position. Sandin's going to be the one that's there with the P90. He's managed to spot up at least one player. So gets into a more passive angle, but they'll have spotted him in return. That flash, though, is perfectly timed, and Sandin now has the bomb at his feet. A 3rd kill as well. Can it be a 4th? Doesn't have to reload, but won't even have time to pick up the 5th. Nonetheless, it's going to pretty much seal the deal here for SK. Started at 12-3. They'll bring this back to 12-6. Barring any magical brilliance from Michaelele, and there it is. Cadian will secure it.
Scary moment there. I mean, even if Cadian goes down, Michaelele shouldn't win the round. It's still making it a little bit more expensive than it needed to be there. But now is the chance for Gamers2 to show us what they've got on this terrorist side here. They're going to have the weapons, they're going to have the equipment for it. And you were pointing out, Sadikis, that perhaps part of the problem here will be that Gamers2 are going to be a lot heavier on the entry facts than SK ever were on the terrorist side.
Yeah, I mean, this becomes the issue, and already they got 1 smoke deployed now in the banana position. They've got a good amount of utilities, and you talked about how much the Molotovs can really make an impact on the CT side. Well, see if SK can use them perfectly here. They're going to have to make their timings pretty much spot on. Sandin in this bedroom position as well is going to come under threat. He needs Freeze to hit that shot, and now that he doesn't, it puts so much pressure, and Sandin goes down immediately because of it. And now another round that looks like it could slip away from SK. Good response kill from Cadian. We'll give this back to a 3-on-3, but still so much pressure being applied on this A side, and Cillian needs to be very careful not to drop down from that pit position, because that's really going to be what secures it. They've done just enough to discourage G2. It's back to B. Config's low on HP.
And he's got nothing left. He's got 22 health, as you said. Just a flashbang here. Cillian is going to be rotating. No, sorry, that's not Cillian. That's Cadian, and that's a big problem. Cillian has the Molotov. It'd be great if he was here right now, but Cadian's going to have to hit some crazy crossing shots, and they're going to put the smoke and just walk it their way in. Config in the back lines, still alive. 22 health, picks up 1 more kill. Cadian is there as well. It's working out. Fox low, and he goes down. Config with a triple kill, and SK, they win that round in spite of some pretty stacked odds. This is very interesting.
Yeah, this is looking much better now. And Config, I mean, he's definitely stepped up on this CT tide. 22 HP, manages to hit the first shot. Luckily, Cadian's there to take the second, and then Bomb's already down. They've got him pincered in, and it's just Config to pop back out as well and get the second kill on that. He's playing very efficiently. His rotation on the pistol round was brilliant. Got there just in the nick of time with the defuse. And then 2 brilliant holds inside B. A 4K in there. That double late just holds on enough, and again with low HP. So G2, they're back to pistols. This puts us on 12-8, and now it becomes a real possibility for SK.
Yeah, 5-round difference. Freeze opening up there. I mean, it's a little bit of armor, but not much here on the terrorist side, so they're getting shut down fairly quickly. Matthew, if you're just joining this game, if you hadn't watched any of the previous rounds and you see it's about to be 12-8 here, I mean, you'd give SK a decent chance of winning it. 4-round difference on Inferno, you're playing CT side, you've got a solid economy. There are a lot of positive things going on here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this does start to look more possible. Smoke's now going to be deployed. So SK, they'll, again, limit G2 on entry. We talked about skill duels. Aim battles that G2 would have the favor in, but if they can't see someone, it becomes significantly harder. And again, this round's all but done. They'll concede it. It'll be 12-8, and then we'll get guns back up as well with the lost round bonus. So G2 should be in an okay position here for a bye, but how aggressive do they go? Do they want to bring up a T-side AWP at this point for Michaelele?
And maybe to try and challenge Freeze, it could be possible. It's been done a bunch of times before, just trying to get the entry with that one. SK are giving them options for those kind of duels, so it's definitely possible, but not right now. They're going to go for the triple Molotov setup instead, and then all AKs here in the 21st round.
And Michaelele could afford it as well, so this was a conscious decision to stick on the AKs. Cadian, so 3 members over at B right now for SK, and Cadian was looking for that flash peek with the AWP. No one's pushed forward, so Rain will just hold Banana, keep it as an option if they need to fall back on it late in the round, and the rest will go on the hunt over toward A. And the aggressive player out of the whole lot of them right now is going to be Dennis. The screen will work into Boiler. He's already on the stairwell, so if they can work this apartment approach again, but the problem is this time, SK, they're not playing a passive pit. They've got 2 holding on from that angle.
And this double pit position is so strong. The way to counter it, if you get the right information, if you get the right read on what's happening, is actually to do a double smoke towards pit, so you just lock them out and you go in and plant. But they don't have those smokes right now. Instead, they're walking into more grenade damage here, and the CT side is still looking pretty strong. And if they go the other way around Archway, you see Cadian is up on the furniture inside of Library and has a really good shot, hard angle to predict if you're coming in from the terror side. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to. Look at the clock here, 30 seconds, Matthew.
This is where Rain comes into play, and this is why he's slowly pushing up Banana, because they don't have enough information on this A side, and when they go, they're going to realize it's a huge problem. Smoke will be deployed, but Cadian, he's already spotted the gun barrel from Dennis, so down one goes. Rain does get back into Asilian, but again, that's over at the B site. Bomb's going to rotate back, but now the support system's gone. There's not really much of an entry. It's got to be perfect. 10 seconds. If he doesn't hit this shot on Config right now, it's done, and Config almost falls off, and it gives him the opportunity. He did spot Michaelele in the process. Does he hold this? 1 versus 3. Looks for the shot against Config. If he could find that, then it's a rotation from the other 2. It gives him a chance, and Config manages to evade death and just give himself the efficiency he may need. Never mind that, he's going to go back in and actually win the duel. And now it's 12-9. This is becoming extremely possible. So I'm going to have to eat my words about saying no way.
Those are the best games, aren't they? The ones where it seems impossible. I mean, I feel like the closer we get, though, the more difficult it's going to be for SK to sort of maintain their own excitement and actually just grind out these rounds here. I think there was a possibility that Config could have played that last round where he denies the plant so that they don't get the money for it, but I actually like the fact that he just plays it super safe. The only thing is, after he played it safe, he sort of went to fight anyway. He should have just, I mean, stayed away, stayed gone until they all showed up. That would have been the super safe way of playing it, but still pretty good job here. These are just details. 12-9.
Yeah, 6 straight rounds to start off this half from SK Gaming, and G2, they have gone for that T-side op. This is them changing the pace. Sandin getting very aggressive. Dennis, if he walks around as slowly as he is right now, his gun barrel's going to protrude before he will, and Sandin should just be able to fire into his head. The shots coming in from Moto means he's forced off it, and now G2's got a great opening as they bite down both Fox and Dennis. Bombs into the A site, and Asilian's forced to wait for both of his teammates to arrive in the rotation from B.
Well, that just, I mean, right now it just looks like they're looking for exits. They're not even going to try and do anything. What can you do here? I mean, if you were in a position where somebody on the team could pick up 1 quick kill, maybe you might try and think about doing like a 4v3 or just keep on going, but they were all so far away from the action that was never even going to happen. So exit frags, the name of the game, and Cadian will get 1. They do have a decent amount of money here on SK, winning all those rounds in a row, but they're also losing some very expensive rifles.
And they just lost 3 members. They needed to keep minimum 3 alive right there on G2 because this resets the lost round bonus.
Yeah. Things are going to get a little bit tricky. You can see they win the round, but they really don't have a lot, whereas SK, well, a bunch of them close to the 10,000 mark there.
Oh no, this is a steep hill still to climb for G2. I mean, if they lose this round right now, we're pretty much looking at SK in the driver's seat. If they can pull this out, yes, they're still going to have another round after, like you said, with that money, but then they start to creep closer to that 14. Doesn't take a whole lot from that point in time, but if they lose this one right here, then SK's, based on the trends we're seeing in this half, going to be in a really good position to wrap this game up, but it's going to be an opt-out on either side. Michael Lilly again, T side, looking to try and get an opening, and they'll go back to this double pit play. 2 members on A, and they know that that's been the problem, at least in the last round, that they gave it up so quickly, and they've already forced Cadian out of position. He tries to whiff a shot through that archway. He's evaded still further and gotten inside library, and all the while, they're going to get the rotation coming over right now from Asilian, so if he can pick up one, absolutely huge. There's a great chance that the rotation will come into play, and there it is. Asilian does take down Rain. It's traded in the end, but they still don't have access to this A site.
Can somebody just replay that round and put some Benny Hill theme on? Just Cadian running away and getting a ridiculous 180 shot there. Michael Ellie going to be jumping in, and that opens up the bomb site, and this is the round that Gamers really needed. They get the bomb down, Asilian and Config. They can retake it and win this round, be huge, but they're going to go for the save, not even trying to fight for the extra kills here. So 14-9, and Gamers2 after a long pause, finally back in the game.
Absolutely, and again, this time keeping 3 members alive, but it's more the fact that they've dodged the bullet of having an economy that gets entirely reset, and a momentum team right now, SK, that's just been dominating this CT half. More so than I was expecting. I really thought G2, and now we're finally starting to see guns come out more consistently, but I thought they might be able to bait out the utilities, and again, just open up those aim duels. It hasn't come to fruition at all, and they haven't been able to even get into the A site. That double pit setup's been successful. And B, they haven't even really opened anything in Banana, so...
Look at this shot.
That's crazy.
That is pretty cool. Dennis also top fragging at 24 kills. There were some of us when he announced that he was going to, retire and wasn't going to play anymore, who kept saying, no, Dennis, you have to keep playing because you're just too good at the game here. It's scary to imagine that this player, together with all of Master and Crims now and Fnatic, were in a team once, and it was a terrifying team as well. It's just something about that old LGB lineup that is still somehow a force in the Counter-Strike scene, even if they've been split up here. Good shot right through from Config to take Rain down to 19, but SK now, I think the pressure is on so much, they're starting to feel that boundary that every mistake they make is going to potentially cost them the game. And once you go there, you start playing differently, even if you don't want to. Mentally, you're going to be just a little bit off, and it's hard to come back.
Absolutely, the pressure starts to mount. Again, best of 1 as well, so does definitely make a difference. And Cadian, he's going to be holding this angle at B right now with the AWP. Michael Lely's creeping in his direction, and the smoke has gone. You'd have to favor Cadian in this position. Michael Lely's quick, but hard to say how quick, and so far he's not ready to take the shot, but his teammates are gathering, and as they all arrive, they'll look for the entrance. In fact, Cadian finds Scream first, falls off. It gives Sandin the follow-up. Now they've got a firm lead, but Rain, excellent shot on Config. Cadian, though, rotates right back over, and Rain drops immediately.
They need to get this kill, but Cadian's just not stopping. Triple for him currently. And Mike Killade, the last one left, trying to get his way through the smoke. They're going to miss the shot, and I think that was a blind no-scope for Mike Killade to take the kill. 7 seconds left. He's going to go for the plant here. This will be a ridiculous clutch, but I don't think he's going to manage it. Asilian charges through, has the timing right in his head, and it is going to be 14-10. If we bring up the scoreboard, I'm wondering what the money is.
Yeah, because that bomb plant may make a big difference here in terms of what the terrorists can do. Again, even if they get to this 15th round, then that pressure gets off them. But
yeah,
they're not there yet. It's elusive at this point, and that's when things get really frustrating, when you get in situations that are winnable, and it ends up like this. Cadian was absolutely nuts that round. There it is. Boom.
It's hard to know exactly how flashed he was, but interesting either way. They're going to have the money on Kingwin's side. But, oh, sorry, Kingwin, yeah. G2 Kingwin. Question is if they can start winning now, because otherwise they're going to get reset, and this could be a very close, even like an overtime type game here. Great grenade raining down Asilian. There's a lot of people here to fight, and he's going to lose it instantly. Fox with the entry frag. Config trying to fall back, but he gets caught by Scream. And that's now completely open in the B-bomb site.
Smoke off as well, forces Cadian to work through construction. His 2 teammates just wrapping the corner at Speedway now, so bombs planted and a decent opportunity to set up post-plant. Scream will burn Freeze alive, and now it's just 2 men remaining. This 15th round may finally get into G2's favor, and already SK is going to concede. They're going to have to play this for overtime, and saving the AWP and trying to do so. Money's still tight as well. Even if they could find exit kills, they've themselves have deteriorated down to the situation where the save is more probable than trying to damage the economy of the Terrius. Cadian, well, they'll do both at the same time potentially, because he's just trying to fight to survive and does pick up Rain. And I dare say they've got just enough space to hold on.
Looks like they're going to be safe, but they've got their backs against the wall now. Any mistake, any entry frag from G2, and this could be done with, and it could be kind of a shame considering the quite impressive comeback they've managed to mount here on the second half. You feel, now you really start to feel like, what if they could have actually put together some good rounds in the beginning? They did win the pistol. If they could have kept going, it would have been incredible.
I even just avoid the eco. That was 2 more rounds right there, and what a difference that would have made. Cadian fires down mid, just missing his target. Dennis limited to the P90, but that ultimately may not make a difference because he'll be able to rush in a sacrificial lamb. Now it's SK who's under pressure, and Cadian, he amounts to it, takes down Dennis. First man advantage goes the way of the counter-terrorist side, but the bomb's going the way of B, and there's no smoke yet on the choke point, just in time for Asili, and he'll place it out, but Rain, he looks to go through this. Watch for the pop flash. Backs turn, no fire to delay them, and Kingwin, they actually are going to get the kills. Rain takes down Asili, and is it going to be enough? Config, he's been efficient, he's using the A1 this time, is able to get the first kill on Rain, but he's falling back, and in doing so, Fox will pursue his prey, and that's down to 3 versus 3 with a bomb plant for Kingwin.
Oh, and this is the whole map on the line here. For SK, they need 5 rounds in a row here to bring it into overtime. But first, they need the retake, and the bomb is already ticking in sight. Scream in the back lines. Fox here doing a good job. Grenade going to be out and actually softens up Freeze a lot. The follow-up flashbang. He's buying so much time. Finally, he goes down. Scream still alive. Michael is still here. Could they really do it? SK, they're trying. Scream in the back lines. Gets a headshot. He's buying so much time, and they're going to get him. I don't think there's enough time, though. It's so close. Freeze, holding it on.
They've got it. They've got it.
They've just got it. 15-11. That is so close.
I might, again, this is going to put G2 on the back foot money-wise. I mean, that's how close we were to done right there. An SK fight to survive. Really good retake, and Scream only able to hit that first headshot. Really open angle, and was expecting the players at the construction, I think, to arrive a lot sooner than they did. So then he was exposed to the CT connection, but SK, forced buyout now from G2, have another chance to fight further and break the economy. Keep it limited, I shouldn't say break it again, break this force buy and keep them limited to pistols in the next round as well, as Kingwin, with Dennis on the charge, is going to try and take over at least the apartments to give them something to work with.
The very passive setup for SK, apart from the Banana player who's now down there. And you were bringing this up earlier, Sadie, because this idea that you can hold alone on Banana and they have 4 people in the A-bomb site. Right now, it seems like a pretty good investment. Flashbangs raining in. Sandin playing up on the balcony. They're going to need all those 4 players here if this attack comes through from Gate G2.
And 2 inside the site. Freeze and Config, who is the player that's rotated over Asili, and that didn't work out too well.
No, not the best flashbang we've seen.
He's actually going to rotate back down Speedway, so we said might need all 4 players here. They've now just got themselves down to 3, and that's off the fact that there's really no information gathered at B, so they give up that hold. In fact, they're actually just going to switch it. They want to swap players. They'd rather bring Cadian over with the AWP, so he's going to get closer to Speedway. Now the attack will come in on A, and Sandin's equal to the task. He manages to get screened, but Rain gets back into him, so Pitt's given up, and Freeze, he can't hit the shot. G2 buying themselves some space, but it may just come down to Config yet again. Not if Dennis can do anything about it. 3 versus 2. Bomb not yet planted. It is dropped on the outside of the site as well, so they've got to push slightly forward to grab it. And Cadian with the AWP. Oh, big shot to miss. He misses on the second one. And just getting away, Michael Haley will get in toward that graveyard. Luckily, Asilium will bring it back to 2 versus 2.
Well, Michael is in a great position for this particular plant here, but he's getting shot in the face now. He's just hiding up in graveyard. He's going to go down. Wall bang coming through from Cadian, and now it's up to Dennis here, trying to defend this bomb plant, and he's not going to be able to. Asilium will walk in and get the shot, and look at Cadian. I think he was shocked by his, I think he missed 3 shots.
Three.
But he got the kill finally. there was something that almost wrecked this round from SK. One tiny detail. The reason why Asilian actually went back from Archway is he wanted to go and help out and smoke up that B-bomb site, and then he wanted to rotate back. And that, when he put up that smoke, that's roughly when G2 tried to push, and he almost didn't make it back in time. That could have lost him the whole round. So things are getting very close here, 15-12. We're just now at the late stage of this game, and not a lot of money on G2 either.
Deployed, top of mid, smoke with a gap intentionally, and Asilian, they're gonna burn Rain alive on the entry, but they're gonna push through this anyway, G2. These pistols and config, crossfire set up from CT is just gonna mow them down. Add one more to Cadian's total, and config will just push forward with the MP9. That'll do it, 15-13. It's getting very, very close. Again, the money will just favor G2 to force into this. I don't think they'll have the AWP on Michael. I can't see the money right now, but I don't think they've got enough to work with.
Well, the comeback is still happening here. We're going to go into the 29th round. They do have AKs all around on G2 and even a couple of Molotovs here to try and make it work. The equipment, though, on SK just can't be stopped here. They've got so much. They need some entry frags. Rain, he spots the shadow on the ground. You can see Cadian's gun barrel, and he's going to end up dropping. Flash comes in from Config, but they have to fall back.
Man advantage, though, for the T side is going to be huge. Because now we're talking, again, we said that we need all 4 players on that stack, and Asilian, you mentioned, was late getting there and how much that almost cost them. Now they've only got 2 on that A site. We'll see if they take advantage of it, G2, because right now they're just sitting in mid, not yet content with the situation. They want one more pick, and they're going to get it. Rain finds Asilian, and now this might just be enough for them to secure it. A lot of pressure going to be applied to Config right now.
That double entry is almost impossible to do anything about if you're on the SK side. Very hard to come back in a round like this. Config trying his best, but Michael will return that frag, and Freeze and Sand, and look how far away they are. They've got smoke and a Molotov, yes, but there's still a Molotov on Michael. He could buy some time, and all G2 have to do right now is just hide. Just delay this fight as long as possible, and they should have this one in the bag. I mean, it's so close for SK, but this retake is very tough.
Penguin taking nading lessons from Asilian. And now it is just going to be Fox inside the site. They've got Scream set up for the crossfire, but that smoke's going to isolate him away from the play, so Fox needs to come up big, hits Freeze. It's now down to just Sand in 1 versus 2, and they're coming from either side, baiting out his angle, and he manages to hit the shot on Fox. It's left to Scream. He's going to try and hold this defuse with 4-3, and Scream comes out. That's going to do it. Kingwin will walk away 16-13, but man, that game got a lot more interesting than we expected.
Yeah, very nearly a sick comeback coming in here from SK. It really didn't look like that was going to be possible at all. The whole first half was just all G2 all the way. But, they fell short just at the end, SK. And it's the best of 1 game, so you don't get that many chances to prove yourselves. But they managed to show that they've got something anyway. We've got the whole panel ready for it. So, Richard, what do you think about this?
Yes, we are ready indeed, Anders. And it's got to be said, we kind of settled in there and we were like, do you know what, guys? Don't get a cup of tea. This one's going to be in the books real quick. Yeah. G2 came out like a greyhound, just racing into the distance, chasing that rabbit. Looked like they were going to win very easily. And then SK Gaming, like we kind of saw at the Ace of Predator Masters in a few games, started battling back, grinding out rounds, doing it the hard way. And in the end, you know, I thought we were going to see an overtime there.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Like you said, G2 coming into that first half, we said if they started CT, it should be a pretty easy game for them. Winning 12-3 as well. They were so emphatic on their CT side, so much confidence, pushing every single area, not showing too much respect, it has to be said. Some interesting setups from them as well. I like that double house face they have up in the apartments, 2 players looking down the stairs and getting that first pick almost every single time, utilizing the AWP pretty well as well. But then when we got to the second half, that's when SK finally showed up. And did they show up? It was really impressive, actually. He got 6 in a row, and Cadian and Config, a player I haven't really watched too much of before, but he was really impressive, especially in the back right area of the B bomb site. Seemed to holding off Kingwin G2, perfectly.
Yeah. It's going to take a while to get used to that.
I actually found, believe it or not, Kingwin to be really underwhelming in this game because they were so good in the first half.
Yeah.
It looked like an envious match, okay, where you're wrecking the opponent so much you start styling on them. If you remember, at the end of the last round, he tried to knife the guy who was diffusing, like a slow diffuse.
To be fair,
because they were so far ahead, he was like, oh, who cares?
It was one of those things when you've got the smoke down and you've got a CT diffusing with a kit and the pistol round. It's difficult to commit to the full spam. Sometimes it is.
Yeah, sure.
So, like,
but I think he also was trying to do it because they think, oh, we're going to win this anyway, we're going to stall him. But in the end, that almost ended up costing him. Because the problem was they kept over and over again. It wasn't like they were losing 1v1s. They'd be in like 3v2 with the bomb planted and total site control, and still they'd find a way to have a weird peek the guy. Or they almost threw the whole game away. Against any good opponent there, they would have actually lost this game in the second half.
Well, look, just before we get into it, we have got an interview, of course, that we need to be doing.
They're the best.
We do love a good interview here. We have got Mantruce. He's on stage with Makalele, the beatboxing sensation from G2. Let's see what he's got to say for himself.
Makalele, that was a bit closer, maybe. Oh, audience, a little woo there, fans. Woo! Yeah. Yeah, so that was a closer match maybe than well, most people thought would happen.
It's always the same for us in the first game on our LAN. It happened at ESL Cologne, it happened in Gamers Paradise, but then we actually won the game, and yeah, it kind of happened every time. But yeah, I mean, they're good, they're city side, and I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think made it so close?
Individual plays, I would say. They were actually really good, and it felt like they actually knew how we were supposed to play, even though we were kind of random, but we're kind of playing the same-ish, you know? So, I mean, individual plays and good in-game leading.
Yeah, I think Cadian and Config had some pretty nice scores, and so how are you guys feeling coming into this tournament? You obviously got first place at Gamers Paradise. It wasn't much of a paradise, but the result for you guys was a paradise, so to speak.
Yeah, we didn't actually I think we practiced 2 games. We didn't have time because we have so much official games online in online leagues, and we came home from Slovenia last Friday, and then we had like 1 or 2 days off, and yeah, so we didn't have that much time to practice, but we're pretty confident. We actually think we are able to win this tournament, even though we didn't practice that much, because we think we're super good individual and together.
I think most people are predicting the top 3 being a mixture of yourselves, Envious, and TSM. Do you agree with that prediction? You just said that you feel you guys could potentially win it.
Well, on paper, I think it is. But yeah, I mean, Dignitas, SK Gaming, we have a couple of good teams here that actually can win games and maybe come top 3 or top 2 that you can win, you know. But yeah, on paper it should be that. I don't know. Probably we'll win it. I hope so, at least.
So a bit of confidence there. And do you know who you're playing next year? And if so, or whoever it's going to be, have you got any tactics ready? Have you got any anything in the back pocket?
Yeah, we're playing against TSM, and I think we have never won a game against them. I think they're like I don't know how to say, like, they're so good against us. They're like the perfect team against us. But hopefully we'll get some kind of revenge and manage to win the game.
Well, best of luck, Michael. Maybe we'll get some beatboxing later in the tournament. Who knows? That's it for now. Guys, Duncan, take it, especially Duncan, you take it away, mate, okay? Thanks, Duncan.
What were you expecting him to say when he asked, like, do you know who you're playing next? Probably the winner of the last game since we won this one. You know what game this is, right? So they don't pick the winner out of a lottery. You don't pick the name out of the bottom. Oh, you've got Renegades. They're back in the tournament, guys. Well, we didn't prepare for them.
Well, we dwelled on that for quite a long time.
It was a wicked interview, though.
Please steer this ship back into
I don't know,
the main path.
It's been a long day already.
It was kind of like that match, that interview. It started off so well. It was firing on all cylinders. Suddenly it started to flag a little bit. At the end, I just wanted it to end.
Yeah.
And now I don't want to see one of the competitors again for the rest of the tournament.
Let's talk about SK Gaming. Because you got to give it to them, man. They battled away there again. They're coming in with a new lineup. They're being classically Danish in the sense that they can't keep a lineup together for too long,
sure,
without tinkering with it and making changes. But they did, show a really good fight, and there's signs of life there. I mean, can we gauge anything about their opportunities in this tournament here?
In this tournament, I still think that they're going to be hard pressed. I could see a rematch between them and excuse me, G2. In the deciding match for second seed. I don't think that that's too much of a stretch.
No, I think that's absolutely fine.
But what we saw here on Inferno, at least, or paying attention to their CT side, at least, there was definitely method to how they were playing, and there were a few clever plays as well. Not just like straight up Because that's the thing, when it comes down to G2, it's very blunt. It's a very, like we're going to out-aim you, and that's pretty much it. If we're going to run into an area, it's just going to be trade frags, and we're going to rely on our aim to get the job done. And Cadian, I think right now, at least from a few of the plays that I saw, he's already got an idea of how to counteract. It's what we're talking about all day long, essentially. If you don't have the raw aim, you have to come up with something clever to deal with that. And there were some little mind games, like throwing double nade from the back of banana, from the back of B site right to the bottom of banana, so that makes you think, oh, both of the guys are holding back there. No, wait, there's Cadian with the op, right? So if they were to think, if they were to get ahead and like, oh, we can take control of top banana, boom, Cadian gets a free shot, and just small things like that. If you let your guard down, you're going to get caught by that. So I'm glad to see that SK, at least, if they can't count on the aim, they're trying to come up with other means to get the job done. And they did show that they were able to grind out rounds on the CT side, which was interesting, despite, of course, a lack of form on G2's part.
It's great show of character, it has to be said. After getting trounced 12-3, and actually, like I said, the way that G2 were approaching the map, pushing down so aggressively, almost showing no respect there, to bounce back and actually go up 6-0 on the second half, it shows that they actually were ready for that game, but it's just a little bit... I guess it was the first showing of them today. We weren't sure what to expect this new lineup. Like you said, it's changing almost every single event. It seems like Config, I think, for me, a player I haven't seen much of at all. I'd like to see more from him in the next game. They get Copenhagen Wolves next, and I think that's a much more tantalizing prospect for them. We can actually see what this lineup can do, and hopefully, like we said, we can see a rematch potentially. I think that's going to be the same game we'll see. But
it's going to be much more even, I think, between the two.
Well, we'll see if that ends up. And just want to say... few words about one chap on G2, had a pretty good performance, I thought. Dennis, I know he caught your eye, Thorin. We highlighted all these like Swedes who've been sort of out there in the wilderness, and now that they're getting back into teams, how good they're actually being. But Dennis, as you said, we talked about him being the catalyst for this G2 team, how it really sort of sparked all the good things that have been happening to them, and he put on a great performance.
Well, you got to go into the history of it, right? Where we could have had Dennis this past year if things hadn't fallen apart with LGB, and he'd been put in a situation where it's like you get a job or you get a contract that pays. It's one or the other. But he was in a situation where he's like, I have to take a job right now, and the only job that he could take didn't allow for travel. So things conspired to make him take this hiatus. The fact that he got this offer from G2 Kingwin at the time, right? It was like you actually have a salary that you can live off of. Now we have Dennis back. Now we have one of the best, one of the better Swedes in the world, playing on a team. So
well, that's the thing that makes him such an interesting figure. Is he's one of the only players to be near the top of the scene and voluntarily choose, I'm quitting just because I don't want to play. Essentially, I want to go get a job and I can't play. Almost always, they can't play as in they're not good anymore or no one wants them anymore. That wasn't the case. Like, even if he hadn't... Okay, so LGB split apart and the other guys went off to Fnatic. If he'd have waited around, he would have probably got the NIP call instead of Makaleli if he'd have still been active. This is a guy where people in the scene knew and respected his game. So that's why it's tantalizing, because it's a comeback, but it's very different flavor to most comebacks. This is one where this guy actually, there's not really any reason he couldn't get back to the similar level. And if he can, they're going to suddenly have a star player in their team. So then they'll have a lot more firepower than this team originally started out with when it was formed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, guys, thanks for your thoughts, as always. We're going to sort of get into the thick end of the wedge now of a long day. We're down to 3 games left, but we're going to be having the winners game next. So that's going to be a classic encounter. I think some of you guys might be casting, Alex. I think we might be losing
I think it's the two of us, actually.
So
probably have Anders and Sato back up here.
The two of us.
So thanks a lot for your thoughts. And we're going to go to a break. Please don't sing to play us out. Let's get a 10-minute break under our belts, and then when we come back, we're going to bring you another awesome game from here at DreamHack London. We will see you then.
With the two of us.